I'm going to have Bob come up. He just shared something with me in the green room, and I want you to come up and share how this transformed that person you were with.
I just gave a talk the other day to the SMU MBAs for their opening of their class, and they all came in, and I'm going through the power of who, I'm going through 2 chairs, and then I get this feeling, I start to feel it. Now you can feel it in the crowd. You can start to feel people. You know that? You can sit across from someone and you start to say, something's not right. And I said, especially to young, aspiring strivers who are all going to get into some MBA because that's going to be the opening of some door that helps them separate from God. And they're going to strive for it. They're going to keep going. And I said, how many people here, had their dad say, I love you? Raise your hand. And maybe 25, 30% of the people had their hand up. And it's pretty much in every one of the audiences to which I talked at. And I said, so there's something, and someone here tonight, today as I was giving my talk, I said that you're so hurt. And if that's you, when afterwards, when we sit and I sign your books, etc., for the thing, I want to talk to you about this blessing that God really still wants to give you, that still is available today. And that's pretty much all I said. And then at the end, all these people are there, and it's down, and it's a secular meeting. It wasn't a church. It was just this. The very first person to come up to me was a young Asian girl. And the very first thing, she looked at me and she goes, my dad died and never told me he loved me, never told me he was proud of me, and he did not give me any blessing. And I said, how about your mom? And she says, well, she tells me she loved me, but I don't know if I really believe that. Now, isn't that interesting? You didn't get it here, so now you're gonna let it kind of roll at you. And so I said, I said, your mom does, and I wanted to start to give her some good feeling. And I said, do you mind, I said, if you come around the table that I would give you, I wanna give you the blessing. And I said, and so she comes around and I said, so normally someone would come up close, we kind of hug. She just ran and jumped into my arms. And I said, can I be your dad today? And she said, yes. And I said, I want to tell you what Paul Teskey has taught me, and I've been in meetings after meetings. First, having him do this for my son-in-law, which that's a whole nother day, could be the greatest turnaround in history for something for Cheryl and I, something that was going so in the wrong direction for your daughter. But this girl, I said, so sometimes during the process that I'm about to say, some people say they hear their dad rather than the person who's giving the blessing. And she said, I said, so are you ready? Yes. And so I do as Paul said. I said, Ling, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry that I wasn't there for you. I'm so sorry that I wasn't there for all the events in your life, for the daddy-daughter dances, for things that you wanted me to say, for me to inspire and encourage you, for me to remind you how much I love you. If I only knew that I could have done this. My dad never did it for me. My dad's dad never did it for him. And I just am so sorry. I'm so sorry that I didn't tell you I was proud of you. Ling, would you forgive me? And she's like crumbling into my arms. And she looks at me and says, I forgive you, Dad. And I knew it right then. It's the most mind-blowing thing that in a situation of where a blessing can go, that God is in the midst of it, and he has taken over this specifically for her. The whole reason I'm here giving this talk to the SMU MBAs was the only reason. It was for her. It was for this moment. And we just hugged, and then I went through the next piece where I could all of a sudden, do you mind if I tell you could I stand in this position as God? And could I tell you this? And then I start telling her that I was always there. I never missed any of this with you. How much I love you, how much I'm proud of you. And then you see her whole face come aglow. And everyone in the line is just like letting us do this, like God has got them busy while we're doing this. And literally, we're hugging, which is kind of awkward and probably for the rest of the people, as she's crying and I'm crying. But I don't care. She doesn't care. She came for the blessing. And there are so many people here in the room that are looking for that blessing. I'm just telling you right now, it is so overwhelming to me as I stand here, as I know, is that God's done something. Paul Teskey so overwhelmed my son-in-law. And it's like the prodigal son-in-law could be the greatest turnaround in the history. And we've seen it in all this process. So I just want to share is that I signed a book, she went away, and then she came running back to me. Just one last second, just to say how much I love you. And I'll tell you what, God is so good. He's so good today.
Amen. You know, I was going to speak at a little church over on Midway, I think. It was like a storefront church. Maybe it was a nighttime service, maybe 20, 30 people there. And so that's the first time I met Bob and Cheryl and their son-in-law, Don. And they were there that night. And they saw this transformation in his life that changed him 180 degrees. And so, anyway, the whole point of the book, too, is I put a roadmap in the back to how to walk out what he just talked about in your own life or in the life of other people that need this affirmation that their father loves them.